Listen, I got together my roster of my most successful friends. We talking about, y'all watch my videos, you see how I'm doing. This group of friends, everybody's richer than me. Today, I am the brokest one in the room. And I'm going to be learning just alongside you guys. Let's try not to ramble too much. We'll keep it succinct. But one of the things that I hear the most from people is they're looking for ways to make money. Obviously, we all been there at one point in time. And I feel like everybody here is going to have a different take on this. And that's why I put y'all all together. I didn't get a bunch of e-commerce guys. I didn't get a bunch of just crypto guys. Everybody here is doing something completely different. So I want to go one by one now and give 60 seconds to say what you would say is the number one way, in your opinion, to make money right now. It could be something that's easy. It could be something that's difficult. And just give some context to why you are saying that and explain what that business or opportunity would be. And we'll follow the order that we did originally. So let's start out with Jad. You just got to unmute.
So for me, since I'm an ecom guy, for me it's really ecom. Very quick, two stories, just so I make this very relatable. About in January, I had someone reach out to me, this guy in Europe, and he was like, "Hey man, so I'm expecting a baby soon. We're in debt, about 25K loan. We're left with 13K in the bank. We have no choice. We have to." The loan kicks in next month. So can you help us? Can you mentor us? We want to start a brand. So I was like, all right, cool. Hopped on the mentorship. Took him about a month to get things moving. When the loan kicked in, they started paying it off. They started making about $500 a day, enough to pay the loan off. These guys have a brand now. About 7 months down the road, they're doing about 60K net a month.
Wow.
Okay, so they went from having 25K in debt and having 13 G's left in the bank to making 60K net a month right now, and they were absolutely oblivious when it came to ecom. So so it's more relatable for the people watching.
Yeah.
Another story, again, very quick. Had this guy hop in my Discord. Didn't know anything about econ, nothing. Okay, this was like, I started the Discord in February, so he hopped in around March, April. He would show up to all the AMAs, always asking questions. This guy's hungry. He posted a screenshot last week. He's running ads on Pinterest, started a brand. He's making about 45K net a month now. So just to show you that these guys are coming from not even knowing anything about econ, nothing. So the turnaround for that is so massive. It's so quick.
So let's hear that. Let's hear that one piece of game, from the 30 million in sales. Like if you were starting ecom today, give one piece of game for you getting started.
You got to keep going, man. You got to keep going.
Jad, we got to go deeper, Jad. We got to go deeper, Jad. We not going motivational. Give me some real game. Come on.
I got you. All right. So if you want some meat and potatoes, what you want to do is you want to focus on where when people go left, you want to go right. So you want to go into the places where nobody's advertising, like Pinterest, right? Everybody's on TikTok now. TikTok is making money, but Facebook is starting to make money again, because so many people left that platform. So always focus on the platforms that are not really that popular, that are not popping on YouTube, right? Because that's where everybody's eyes is not focused on, and you want to really dive into that. Another thing I recommend, and this is something I always recommend, everybody wants to start a brand that's sexy. Everybody wants to go into the beauty niche, the cool gadget niche, want to hop on trends. Pick the boring stuff. Pick the very boring stuff. Pick wall paint. Pick home supplies, kitchen supplies, stuff that people just don't find that attractive, but people need every day. If a recession hits right now, people are always going to need home supplies. They're not going to, disappear out of their homes. They're always going to need things to buy to supply their homes. So that's some meat and potatoes when it comes to ecom. But going back to my point, you really need one product to make it work, and that's why I was saying you want to keep going. I've been 20K in debt, and then boom, found that one product, did 6 figures, and then 30 million. So you got to keep going, man. Diligence is so important. And I see people get so close to finding that winning product and building a brand around it. and they just stop, you know.
For sure. Appreciate that, Jad. Thank you for going deeper, not giving us that little think and grow rich answer. We want the real. Let's go for Sebastian next. I see you over there. I know you got a lot of thoughts. I know you the king of the side hustle. You got videos talking about different ways to make money. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it depends on the person, of course, but I think drop shipping with TikTok right now is really good. And it's particularly because if you don't have no money at all, you could just learn how to create viral content on TikTok, which is quite easy, and center that content around a product. And that could get you to some money if you have no money. But ultimately, I think the most like broad advice that anyone could take would be you need to have a skill of some sort, because a lot of these people are trying to make money on the internet, but they're like completely useless. And it's like, if you have some sort of skill or some sort of value that somebody will pay for, then that's really where you can start making money. And then based on how valuable you are, or to how many people you can be valuable, is when you really start to make a lot of money. So I would start with the skill. And if you could find it around, money making skills are great, but if you could do something that you would like genuinely enjoy, like if you genuinely enjoy creating content, you could edit videos for people. That's a place you could start, and that will open up a lot of roads for you. So if you're completely dead broke and useless, I'd say the best thing is just find a skill and start monetizing it.
That's some real game right there, and I love that tip because it's very practical. With that skill, you can go on and make money. It's like you could tell them different methods and different strategies and stuff like that. But if you just focus on getting good at something, you can make money with it. Like for me, when I went broke and I was trying to start my first e-commerce business, the way I was able to get back up and get a budget to start again was because I had the skill of being a video editor that I had developed over the years prior. And editing videos was making me a couple $100s a week, which gave me the budget to actually run the ads. So that is something that saved me, having a skill that I could then monetize. I want to throw it to E-Man next because I know it's getting pretty late for you, bro. But I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, so I would have to agree a little bit more with Sebastian. Here's the thing you guys need to understand. If the thing that you want to start involves any more than $200 or $300, it is a horrible idea. Like, I'm sorry, but the people who say, okay, you should get into real estate as a beginner, I don't know how they sleep at night. The people who say you should get into drop shipping if you have to pay for ads, I don't know how they sleep at night. Like, come on, guys. Like, you guys are talking about your level of intelligence, and you have had to go through so many steps just to even be able to get up past, earlier than 10 o'clock in the morning. You guys, all of you guys are in here are people who go to the gym every single day. Like, you need to realize that we're a group of individuals that does not correlate to the other 99%. So for the other 99%, you need to understand the first 6 months, the first 12 months, when you're trying to make money online or a side hustle or whatever it is literally war. And 90% of the game is just dealing with yourself. So here's the issue. If you are spending money on ads, if you're spending money on stock, for example, for an FBA brand, any of these things, I'm not so much worried about, okay, are the ads going to work? Are the ads not going to work? Is the product going to work? Is it not going to work? I'm concerned about the person. The person is a liability to themselves, right? And by the way, bear in mind, first of all, dropshipping is a party trick. Like, it's a party trick. It's cool. And by the way, you can use party tricks. That's fine, right? And bear in mind, as the thing that I'm most passionate about is an agency.
When you say party trick, define that, because I think that might go over.
It's a party trick. Look, it's a party trick. You're not a real fucking business person, right? And by the way, bear in mind, I don't talk about a lot of my businesses, but I have my own e-commerce brand.
I do got the glasses around here somewhere. And I'm not gonna lie. Check it out. You know what these are. You see what I'm wearing. These the Gatsby exclusive pants right here. So I'm repping the brand.
So dude, I have a lot of businesses, and I don't really talk about all my businesses, but I can speak from experience. And the thing is, having an agency is so boring. And by the way, bear in mind, there's a difference between an agency and having a high income skill. What I recommend for every single person here is not starting an agency. What high income skill and then adding some extra leverage to it. So I don't give a shit if you guys are really buff in the gym and you become a personal trainer. I genuinely believe it's a much better route to try to get to $4,000 a month as a personal trainer than try to make $50,000 a month as, doing e-commerce, but then you have to actually risk 5,000 to 8,000. Always go for the safe thing. As I said, like, it sounds terrible, but the people starting businesses right now, they're liabilities to themselves. They are their worst enemy.
When you
right?
when you say safe, you talking really about not having a lot of overhead and expenses required.
I'm talking if you are starting a business or you want to start a side hustle, and Skillshare is the only Skillshare and Adobe Creative Cloud, $15 a month for Skillshare and $40 a month for Adobe Creative Cloud. These are your only two expenses, and you have $55 a month in expenses, and that's your expenses for the next 6 months. And for the next 6 months, if you don't get a single fucking client, it's not an issue. That, to me, that is the business you should start, right? Because when you're first starting, it's not about what you know. Bear in mind, like, we all have access to this exact same YouTube videos. Why do some people take the exact same knowledge and run with it, and then some people can't even fucking get out of bed in the morning?
Right.
It's like you basically, it's like bowling with like the guardrails up, right? Eventually you can take those guardrails off. But when you first start, you have to have those things on because, you're going to be knocking all around the place and you don't want to go in the gutters. So yeah, for me, look, the thing that I'm most passionate about is agency. I actually don't even recommend people start an agency, right? Like, that, put that to the side. Basically, all an agency is just taking whatever you're doing. Let's say, for example, there's a lot of NFT projects out there. I know I have an NFT project, right? And, you spend a lot of money on Discord moderators. So let's say at first you become a Discord moderator. It's a measly extra $1,200 a month, but at least it's some extra side income and it's pretty much guaranteed. Let's say, you're a fucking dweeb and you spend 12 hours a day on Discord as is, because you're a little fucking gamer nerd and stuff like that. Cool, each their own, right?
Chill out. Don't diss the gamers in the chat. Come on now, you can't do it.
Sorry, bro. I love messing with gamers. They get so pressed. You know what it is? I don't actually judge any people. It's just the people who have the most like intense reaction to things. I like pressing a little harder because I'm like, why are you so pressed? Anyways, like, the long story short, right? So let's say you become a Discord moderator. Then if you start to become a little entrepreneurial minded, then you go, hey, I know another, I have 5 other friends that are also fucking nerds and live at home in their mom's basement and they don't make any money. So they'd like to pay for their Chipotle addiction. So why don't I just get all my homeboys? I'll pay them $500 a month because they're already spending fucking time on Discord anyways. And then I'm going to charge the clients X amount on top. And that's what turns into an agency. I don't recommend that you guys come in and think, oh, agency. Basically, agency, all agency is just taking whatever you're doing and adding leverage to it, right? So just put that to the side. At first, just figure out what is some sort of value that I can provide to a business or a person. Just figure what that out, figure out what that is. And everyone has predispositions. I always say, like, you shouldn't, and everyone's going to be like, common self-help advice is you should find what you're passionate about and this and that. I don't believe that. I think you need to look at your situation and you need to go, what is your competitive advantage? And I think that even at the highest level of entrepreneurship, it's all about figuring out what's your competitive advantage. So, look at your skill set right now. Is there something you've been doing for a while that you could actually sell as a service to someone? As I said, maybe you're super buff and you can start selling some personal training services. Maybe you're really good at chess and you can start coaching online.
So to bring it back to the main question at hand, in terms of the opportunity you see, is to focus on what you actually have as a skill set inside and think, how can you use that to provide value to other people without having to run ads and without having to have expenses.
The point is, you need to start a business that has maximum $200 at a max a month in expenses. And the best way to do that is a service-based business. Or, for example, I know something that I think Seb talks about, and I know Scott Hilsey talks about, drop shipping, but you do it all with organic TikTok. So the point is, as long as it falls under that requirement of you're spending less than $200 a month, then whatever, you have my blessing, go for it.
I think this is a good time to bring my boy Zayn in here because, Zayn has a lot of people working for him right now, and they might not necessarily be entrepreneurs, but they're making, 6 figures a year sometimes, 5 figures a month, and like, they're not having a business. What can you say to that? Because you've seen a lot of people go from nothing to making their first money. So it goes to that question of what's the best way for somebody to start making money right now.
Yeah, I mean, I always get that question, and I always try to give the same answer because I just think it's so true, is sales. I think sales is a very interesting thing because it's doing entrepreneurship without having to take the risk and necessarily going and starting a business. So what's, to me, really cool about sales is if you find the right product, right? If you're going and you're selling computers and you're making $50 every time you sell a computer, it's going to be impossible to go out there and make 7 figures. But for example, in my industry in solar, you can go and sell a solar system and make $8, 9, 10, $15,000 in a system, and that's a 45 to 60-minute sales cycle. So if you do the math and you get really good at it, it's not that it's easy. It takes a lot of persistence. It takes trying to sell someone. It takes, really understanding the business. But if you get really good at it, you can make money. I have a 21-year-old that works for me. He'll make over $3 million this year selling solar, not running his own business, but knocking doors and just building a team selling solar. That is like pure skill set, pure sales, and someone that's just extremely motivated to go out there every single day and put in the work. Now, I always get tons of people that come up to me and they're like, but I want to be a CEO. I want to run my own business. That's completely fine. Anyone can go and do that. Anyone can go and start a LLC and run their business. But at the end of the day, to me, what's going to be most important is that you're living life on your terms and you're making the money that you want to make. A lot of people start a business and they end up taking on a lot more responsibility, and they don't have the ability to actually handle that responsibility. They have so much going on, and they end up actually hurting their life, and not actually being able to enjoy what they're making. And if you know the stats, most business owners in the United States and around the world don't even make that much profit, right? A lot of times they're making less than someone that's employed by someone else. So all I would say is, like, not stopping people from starting a business, but if you're going to get into business, have a business model and an idea and motivation behind something that you really believe in, where you're going to be able to put in the work and go through the hard times, because oftentimes business is super tough. There's tough times. There's times where you hire people and they end up leaving you. You hire people who you thought were ethical and they end up taking from your business. You have customers that have issues with you and problems. You have other people who, will talk bad on your business. You have to deal with customer service. You have to deal with payroll. There's just all these responsibilities. So if you're going to take that on, really fucking love it, like make it your thing and go all into it and preach that and make that your life. For me personally, I'm not someone that just wants to make a certain amount of money, live a certain life and be comfortable and enjoy. It's just not my personal thing. For a lot of people, like, that's their thing. For me, business is a game. It's like a sport, and I love doing it every single day. It's, every time I have a struggle, every time I have something that goes on, every time a competitor is going against me, I look at that as a game, and it's just something that's fun for me, and it provides me a sense of fulfillment and purpose. But if that's not what lights you up, if that's not what gets you excited, and you purely want to live a good lifestyle and make a lot of money, I think you should go out there and find something to sell that you really like.
Yeah, I like that perspective, and that's why I wanted to ask you, because I figured you would bring something new. Everybody is saying you got to start a business to make money, but I like what you're saying there. I want to talk to Luke Belmar now. A lot of people in the chat asking about Luke and what he thinks, but before we do that, big shout out to everybody in the chat. We got over 2,000 people watching us right now. W's in the chat. Shout out to everybody right now doing these interviews with me. I appreciate y'all so much. These guys' time is so valuable. Like, so valuable, and for them to take the time to do this with me means everything. So we'll do a couple more things and then we'll wrap it up. Luke, what do you say about this question?
You guys are smart motherfuckers. That's the first thing. I appreciate everybody in this chat. It's really, really cool to hear the perspectives that everybody has. I think all the perspectives are individual, kind of tailored to experience. I would say the first thing to take into consideration is understanding what money is. Like, most people are out here trying to get money. They don't even know what money is. And I think the relationship that people hold to money is the first step in understanding how to make money. I would say most people don't know what money is, where it comes from, how it's made, who makes it, what's the money policy around the world. And therefore, they end up in a situation where they have a bad relationship with money. I think everybody in this chat has some sort of understanding of how money works in some way, shape, or form that has allowed them to break free from what we now know kind of like nature. So the coin was minted in 700 BC somewhere in Asia. And that's kind of how this idea of the current financial system started. Now, my favorite quote when it comes to kind of the question that you're asking, Jordan, it comes from Elon Musk. And Elon says that you get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. So if you solve big problems, you're going to get paid big bucks. If you solve little problems, you're going to get paid little bucks, right? That's why if you have the ability to put somebody on Mars, you'll get paid big bucks. If you have the ability to flip burgers, and that's the ability in the range of your skill set, right? Because it all comes down to your ability to provide value in the marketplace. You'll get paid in proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. Now, there are exceptions to this rule, right? For example, we talk about like Bored Ape Yacht Club. I was going through everybody's profiles here over the last 24 hours because I saw who was speaking, and Jordan invited me, and you know, I was buying Bored Apes at 4 ETH way back fucking when. And what I bought 5 of them. I sold one to my boy Luca. Sold it to him fucking cheap. And I realized that there's exceptions to this rule, right? Because you get paid in proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. I think to Iman's point, I think he has a great point when it comes to drop shipping, right? This idea that for most people it is a gimmick. It's not a gimmick to the person like Steve Tan, who does $100 million a year because he owns warehouses, he owns manufacturing companies, he makes the plastic himself, he makes the molds, he does all the crazy shit. But for the average person starting, you have to understand that the players against you have been in the space for a really long time, and it can be extremely difficult. Now, the value that dropshipping provides per se, let's say you got a dropshipping product, is questionable. So I think that dropshipping isn't what it used to be 2015, 2016, 2017, where we were doing it. I think it's shifted intensely. The second thing I would say to that point, I forget who mentioned the idea of like what type of, I think it was Jad mentioned the idea of what products you should sell based on niche. And I agree with you as well, brother, because in 2020, when everybody was trying to fight Facebook and find black or gray hat methods to get around, hand sanitizers and masks, because those things were banned. Remember, you guys saw it was like banned on Amazon. It was banned everywhere, right? Kenzo, was that shit banned on Amazon?
I lost so much money. They said I was price gouging on everything, and it's like, no, my cost just went up. But yes, I got screwed so bad.
Yeah. So my strategy to that one was, okay, people are massively focused on protection. They're massively focused on health. They're massively focused on germs, viruses, all this stuff that was kind of propagated through the mainstream media. I was like, well, people also like their pets, so let me sell cleaning products to pets, right? And that was my niche. And I had the 4th biggest Facebook ad of all time. We had to think about 250,000 likes on the post.
I wish I had like a bomb sound effect. I wish I could be like.
Do you guys want me to give you guys some sauce? Let me give you some sauce, because I know there's a lot of people that do ecom here, and even though it's more difficult, we're talking about how to make money. Like, what's the best way to make money? I'll fucking tell you guys how to make money in 2022 Q3 going into it. How you guys can make a couple $100K and then pivot that into other businesses.
Let's do it.
Now, you're not going to do you're not going to be out here doing solar and building a $300 million business overnight, right? I think that takes massive amounts of effort, and I look forward to picking your brain as well, and I think that's phenomenal. I used to do door-to-door sales as well. I would say TikTok organic is a massive move. TikTok organic, especially if you're running through an e-com store, things of this nature, you could get 2-3 pages on TikTok up and running instantly, post content, and have a winning product. And the reason I know this is because I've tested it and I've done it myself. It's multiple stores. I think we did one store. It was a survival product, and we did 1.7 million in 30 days. Net profit was about 450K because our products were quite expensive, and we did purely TikTok organic, right? It was purely TikTok organic, and I know that this still works because we did it in January. So I know that it's still a plausible methodology if you don't have a lot of money, but it requires effort. So this idea of like running Facebook ads, once again, I agree with Iman, right? Running Facebook ads in 2022 when the entire space understands what dropshipping is right now. When we used to watch like the 6-pack abs shortcut ads and like the Ty Lopez ads, we didn't know what the fuck ads were, right? So we would click on that shit. Nowadays, the consumer is a lot more aware and they're a lot more informed. So something that I would do, especially if you're running paid traffic or if you're running organic, what we would do in the comments section, this is how you trick the algo to give you hella heat. Free sauce for everybody in here. You want to create conversations in your comment section. You want your comment section to become a thread of conversation between the community, because Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they don't necessarily read the comments, but they look at the engagement. The engagement will drive lower CPMs. The engagement will drive higher quality traffic, and the engagement will ultimately lead to virality. So what we did is, we would have our cleaning product. I'll talk about this COVID one. We had this dog cleaning product. And what we would do is we would create these profiles and post a picture of a dog. And we would have all the women, we would have all the dudes post their dog. We'd ask people like, You know how everybody in the comment section is like, oh, that's cool, give you a coupon, 50% off. They don't use their fucking brains. They're not building community. They don't understand that advertising, right? Advertising is your ability to get in front of the customer. It's not necessarily to sell them. And the comment section, we do it all the time, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a car, whatever it is, we always look at the reviews, whether it's a country. But why do you also look at the reviews in the dropshipping products or the e-commerce products that you sell? The first place you look is the comment section. So if you have the ability to control the comment section and tailor it to your will, you're going to be a fucking killer. Mm-hmm. So what we did is we would be like, we went crazy on this. It was a fucking dog product, and we would have everybody post the photo of their dog. And then we went super crazy. We're like, what if we go really intense and actually start like pushing people's buttons? So we started talking politics in the comment section. Mind you, this is a dog product. So you have Karen from Nebraska, who's 46, who doesn't know what an ad is. And she's out here commenting about Donald Trump or some bullshit. And we get crazy engagement. Our CPMs are extremely low. But I think the factor here comes in taking what currently exists and iterating. I think everything that we live in, the infrastructure that we live in, iPhone 14, whatever, they're iterations of things that have been done previously. And if you have the ability to iterate based on current market conditions, you can survive. Now, I think a lot of people are dropshipping in ways that are no longer relevant. I think that a lot of the courses and learning, and I've never done an e-commerce course, so I couldn't tell you, but I've watched a lot of the recent ones. And a lot of the stuff hasn't been updated, and it's not new, it's not fresh, and doesn't take into account the new market conditions. I would say if you wanted to make money in 2022, you only have a couple $100, maybe a couple $1,000. There's 3 avenues that you can make money, period. First is physical products, the second one is digital products, and the third one is services, right? So you have your physical products, that's going to be, your Kenzo, right? His ability to fulfill massive demand to Amazon. You have Iman's agency, right? He's a service. You have your digital products, which could be people's courses in here, whoever has a course in here, I don't know, or an NFT could be considered a digital product as well. I would say the lowest risk, highest return one would be services, right? Your ability to provide a service at a low cost, because what your effort is not in revenue or your ability to put in cost. Your effort is in sweat equity. So you have to put in manual hours, and your ROI is going to be based on your time. So if your time's not worth a lot right now, then I highly recommend you guys taking the services route. Yeah. The highest ROI route for me, though, is the digital product route, because you obviously don't have inventory, you don't have shipping, chargebacks are a little bit different. And then physical, of course, with everything that has to do with Shanghai, like in your ability to ship from China, complications, shipping is expensive, products are expensive. Things are expensive in general. So your ability to make margins, what were tasty margins in e-commerce before, are no longer tasty and no longer appealing to a businessman like me. Yeah. Because it just doesn't make any more sense. So that's kind of like my mindset when it comes to, I wrote a couple things down that I kind of wanted to mention.
Well, I think
to make sure that people get that.
Before we go into that, I think you covered it pretty good. I think that point that you made about the 3 different ways is important for people to identify. The service, the physical, and the digital products. Services, physical, and digital. But and last part I'll say, before we move on real quick, I just want to respect everybody's timing here. Are y'all good? Like, if anybody got to go and y'all got to, go to sleep or do whatever you got to do, you are free.
I would love to pitch in real quick. And then I'll
pitch in, broski. Pitch in. Yeah. Talk to me.
Because I know y'all it's $1 million an hour to get y'all on the phone. So, I appreciate y'all again.
I appreciate you, Jordan, letting me in here. Kenzo, what up? Zayn, what up? Nice to meet you, Iman. I've watched you. Nice to meet everybody else. Everything everybody said is really important. I think they all matter the most. But one thing that I think we need to let the viewers know is that with all these skills that they may acquire, whether it's photography, videography, whatever, I think practicing social skills is really important. Because a lot of times I've been in places where money can't buy you, but your social presence is cool enough or your vibe is cool enough that a person that doesn't know you will allow you to be around them. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've been with the Drakes, I've been with the Futures, the Travis Scott, and it's not because I have a lot of money or I have a big chain or whatever. It's just because my social presence is good. So practicing social skills, I think, is very important, because you can have all these skills and assets, but if you can't go out and present them to other people, then how is anyone going to know about you? You know what I
Hey,
mean?
let's
Like,
talk about that for a second, because I'm gonna add to that, because I've been outside with Steph before. I've been to the clubs with Steph. The people at the door treat him crazy. They let him go on stage. They let him go wherever he want to go. The DJs, they love him. Bro is tapped in with real A-list people. Why do they fuck with you? And why can other people necessarily not be able to talk with people like that? Like, give one tip for people who want to be more social, because that's an area that a lot of entrepreneurs do not have. They don't have it.
for me, I think the easiest way to tap into your social side is maybe find out what type of music you really like and just chase that. Whether it's going general admission to your favorite concert or it's going to the local bar, just start talking to people in person. It's easy to text people, it's easy to call someone over the phone, but can you have an in person conversation with somebody about what you're trying to sell? I can go learn drop shipping on YouTube, but when I go to meet somebody who already owns a drop shipping store, am I going to be able to convince them that I'm worthy of their time? So practicing social skills, whether it's with girls, whether it's with guys, it's the reason my business is the way it is today. It was half online, but it was half physical. It's me being in the girls' faces, being in front of artists. It's showing people that, yes, if you talk to me, not only can I allow you to be around the environment that I have, but I can also make you money through the internet. So it's like two different lanes. It's physical and digital. You need to have both, I feel like, in what you do to be successful in anything. Like, any of us can hop on a call with each other, or we can go meet with each other, and we probably won't really stutter. We won't really like forget what we were going to talk about because we're used to it. But a lot of our viewers, they're in the house a lot. They don't really go out. They're more enclosed. They're more digital minds. Like, they have a more digital mindset to them. I feel like you guys got to learn that social skills are just as important as anything, because you can convince somebody with your words more likely than you convince them with screenshots or paperwork or anything. Like, I've talked to girls and got them to sign, but rather than showing them, hey, this girl went from 10K to 100K a month. But it was the voice and it was the presence of me talking. She felt like, wow, this is a person that knows what he's talking about. So it's good to have digital skills, but I really, really, really urge everybody to gain some social skills, get out there and be present in the physical world, because a lot of people will say, oh, Steph, you're always out. But it's like, okay, go home, watch Netflix at night, or put myself in the real world environment. And I don't know what opportunity that might lead to. I might meet a Kenzo. I might meet a Jordan. I might meet an Emar. You never really know. But the chances of you meeting somebody out is better than you just being at home watching Netflix. So
Or trying to
I'm a
slide into
person
the
that,
DM for real. Nah,
correct.
but
And
that's real stuff, Steph. For
yeah,
real.
and then I'm gonna end it with off. I'm going out every night, but I don't drink. I'm almost a year sober. Well, not
You're on
sober, but
business. You're on business
yeah,
mode, bro. You're
yeah.
hunting.
I'm
That
on
makes
business
complete
mode.
sense. You're on
Exactly.
business mode. It's part of the. It's
Correct.
part of the strategy. You're out here recruiting.
Yeah.
It makes. I think you have a valid point, bro.
Social
I mean, I'm
skills.
gonna meet with everybody here in person one day. You know, like at this point, I'm just jetting and jet setting and traveling. So I look forward to connecting with everybody wherever the fuck you guys are. I agree with you, bro, 100%. Because a lot of people don't understand, and that your deal flow, which is kind of what we're gonna get to in the next probably 5 to 10 years, your ability to get big deals, Jamie Dimon, Chase Bank type deals, Berkshire Hathaway, all of it has to do with your network. And something that I've learned is it's not about who knows you, it's about who likes you, right? And that's where you get the big deals. It's not about who you know, it's not about who knows you, it's about who likes you. So
Facts.
I want to get a fucking house, and I'm gonna put. Now I got Seb. I want to put solar on the house. Now I got my boy, right? So like all these things where I have the ability to build a network, and hopefully you guys give me a good price. But that's kind of like the network and the environment that you can build. So I agree with you, bro. I agree with you 100%. That's where you get finesse. But you want to get the OTC deals in crypto over the counter, where you get all the fucking projects cheap. You want to get all the insider information. That's how people make money, bro. You think out here these fucking politicians have $100 million net worth serving the people? Get real.
Yeah, it's the rooms that you're in. And that's why I try to put this room together today. I mean, never will the people in this chat have the opportunity. I'm not saying never, but when will they have the opportunity to be in the room of this conversation that we're all having today? That's a rare opportunity. It's some kids that are watching this in literal Africa.
Your birthday.
What you say? You said my
I said your
birthday?
birthday.
Oh boy, everybody coming to the birthday, and Steph gonna host it. And it's gonna be lit. But no, for real though, like there are people listening to this in other countries. They're not gonna get this opportunity, so that's why I put this together. Look, 10 more minutes and we're done. That's it. I'm going to take on 2 questions from the chat, and that's the end of the stream. So questions are coming through. Steph, if you got to go, appreciate you, bro.
Love, bro.
And
As always.
E-Man, if it's too late for you, bro, if you got to dip, it's okay as well. Maybe I'll get one question out of you from the chat if you don't mind, though.
Nah, don't worry, bro. I had a espresso martini to end off dinner, so you're good.
This man is living off of espresso martinis. The first time I met him, the first drink I had with him was espresso and not water, and that's okay.
And I think it was AM as well.
Yeah, we had an espresso martini at 10 a.m. Yo, somebody donated $500. That's crazy. You should have donated that to charity or something. But thank you. Like, I really appreciate that. We should donate to charity live. That's how I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to take your 500. We're going to put it to some charity.
Do we get to split the 500? Just like everyone?
Show him your wrist and ask me that question again. No, I'm just playing. All right,
We'll go to Noble with that one. We'll go to Noble with that one.
There we go. I like how you think. Okay, so questions coming through. They're coming through so fast, but I got one right here. Let's throw it to E-Man. What is your biggest mistake you made when starting your business initially?
Biggest mistake.
We don't talk about the mistakes enough. We talk about, oh, this happened and this worked and then this worked and then this worked. But I think the mistakes is where people might be able to learn more.
I don't know. Look, I mean, here's the thing. With biggest mistake, as I said, I feel as though the way my transition from business to business, I feel as though is one of the things that I've been able to do well. Because as I said, and by the way, Luke, when you speak, you know, you're a fucking genius.
Luke is an amazing speaker, honestly.
Y'all are amazing, bro. I'm just here tuning in, bro. I'm actually having fun with you guys. This is really cool.
Yeah, man.
You know, so when Luke speaks, for example, I can tell he has a very, very high skill set. And as I said, this is kind of why, like, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer of the group, but that's why, you know, I really just try to keep in mind that, quite frankly, not everyone is an excellent entrepreneur, and you need to find an opportunity that matches your skill set. And quite frankly, when I was 16, 17 years old, I was a dumb fuck, right? I was a dumb fuck who was just trying to put his hand out and navigate and try to, you know, like my skill set wasn't that great. You know, I did have some advantages going my way. I had been reading for a while, meditating for a while, but I guess when it comes to mistakes, as I said, though, it's hard for me to say because I feel as though my going from one business to the other and just knowing when the right time was, you know, even for example, launching my software company, which is the main focus right now, it's such a difficult business, but which is why I waited so long, even though I could have done it before. So I guess going back to 2017, dude, I'd say the biggest thing is probably just like thinking that you're going to get an answer that you don't already have. And you never are. Like, that's the thing. You're never going to go on YouTube, or maybe 0.5% of the time, you're going to go on YouTube and actually find something of value. And I'd say my biggest mistake is, actually, here's what I'd say. I'd say my biggest mistake when I first started my business was looking at people who had success and thinking that their success correlated directly to knowing the right thing to do. And most of the time, that's not the case. But just because someone is successful, I'm sorry, but if you throw shit at a wall long enough, something will stick. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they knew what they were doing. It just mean, and I will always say when it comes to my career and what I've done, I will always say 50% of it was luck and timing. So I can't teach that. I can't account for that. I can only teach the other 50% of the stuff that I did. So I guess that was probably the only thing, if I could go back, is that feeling at the age of 16 or 17, talking to someone who is 28 and feeling like, oh, they must know something that I don't, or they must, like, just because they've accomplished something, you know, it's kind of like investing. Time in the market is the most important thing. Time in entrepreneurship as a sport is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And the longer you have, the more of a competitive advantage you have. So I think that's probably the biggest mistake. And I just, you know, I urge and I plea a lot of you, the people watching this, just because you watch, and by the way, you know, put those same skeptical, you know, glasses on when you watch even my content. You know, poke holes at anything I say, and poke holes at anything that anyone in here says, and just understand that just because we're saying something doesn't actually mean that we're right. It may have been right for our situation. So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing is, if I could go back, I wouldn't have this, you know, rose tinted glasses when looking at, you know, successful people further ahead than me.
I really like that take, because now being in a position where, we are all influencers in one way, shape, or another. When I was watching people at the beginning, I saw it like, damn, how did he do this and I didn't? What does he have that I didn't have? But once you get here, you realize that all they did differently was just not quit. And they just stuck with it. And it's not like they had access to some secret sauce or that you're going to join the war room and Andrew Tate's going to give you this one piece of game that's going to change the world. It's like, no, like it might help you meet somebody that can help you grow, but you're not going to see any drastic change between those people that have made it and those haven't, except for the fact that they kept going. A lot of people asking Kenzo a question. They're saying, Kenzo, do you have visions of becoming a trillionaire? You're the young bull in the chat right here. You're off to a head start. I know it's a silly question, but like, how big you think you can take this,
I mean, in reality, that's something that I've kind of been struggling with as myself to figure out, because the biggest complication and the biggest like fight I've been having with myself is when is the right time to exit, and Zayn's probably in the same position. Like Zayn could probably cash out multiple 9 figures, if not 10 figures of his company and walk away. But
what do you think Better Earth is worth right now, Zayn? Like, just throw out a number.
I mean, just in my industry, companies sell for is 2x revenue, so 500 to 600 mil.
Crazy.
So yeah, I mean, it's just for me, like, I'm not gonna lie, when I originally started entrepreneurship, I did it because like I saw people driving Lamborghinis and private jets and like all this shit was foreign to me, and I'm like, you know what, like that's the kind of life I want to live. And obviously that's like why I started, and the reasoning has changed, along the way of, helping my family out and yada, yada, yada. But for me, I wouldn't say trillionaire. I mean, like, Elon Musk isn't even a trillionaire yet, is he?
It was just like a question I thought was funny, but it made me think, like, how big can you go with this,
I mean, I have no doubt that I could get the company to $1 billion in revenue per annum within the next 24 to 36 months, 110%. Now the biggest thing is as you grow bigger and bigger, to be honest, you do see your margins actually get cut because you're pushing more and more volume and it's supposed to make up for it. So I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't say trillionaire status. Like I'd say if I have a few B's, by the time I'm 35, I'll be chilling. And I do it.
Just don't forget about your boy. Don't forget about your boy when you get there. That's all I
thoroughly enjoy it, just like Zayn, like waking up every morning and like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna check in with the team, I'm gonna underwrite these deals, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do, and that's just how I live my life. Like you guys could invite me to Ibiza tomorrow, and yeah, maybe it might be fun and I might go, but like I thoroughly enjoy sitting down on my computer or cracking the whip and yelling at people. And
you're like Kiki instead of Ibiza.
Nah, I'm good. I'm retired.
This man is the king of the Miami club. But let him talk though. He's talking some real shit.
But yeah, no, I'd say like at the end of the day, as long as I have enough money to the point where it's generational, I really don't care what that dollar value is.
Yeah, well said. All right, I think this is the point where we can wrap up the stream. Now let's end it on this. One more time, W's in the chat, please. These men took their time out of their day to come drop game for y'all. So W's for all them in the chat. I need y'all to go crazy in the chat right now. What I want to do to end this live stream is one parting piece of game for everybody. Let's say this was the last message you had. Maybe that's too dramatic because now y'all going to overthink it. Just give one piece of game for the road, man. Listen, a lot of people watching. Some of them are y'all's fans. Some of them, this is their first time ever meeting you guys. Give one piece of game for the road. Let's start out with Sebastian G. He got a lot more game on his YouTube channel, by the way. Make sure you guys go subscribe for sure.
Yeah, man. So actually, I wanted to tune in because I thought this was like a roundtable, so we were all going to kind of talk, but I realized that's going to be kind of difficult. I wanted to tune in when somebody said you're not allowed to quit, and Luke Belmar nodded his head. I'm pretty sure probably everybody nodded their heads inside their head, but you have to like actually conceptualize that, and that's the way I think about it as well. Is if you do something for a long enough period of time and you keep failing, and you're going towards one point and you keep failing, you're just getting closer every single time. You're only learning how to do what it is you're trying to do every single time that you fail. So don't quit is like we all have gotten that advice before. It's like, don't quit. And it's the most stereotypical, boring advice, but it's truly the best piece of advice that I could ever give to anyone. That's the best, because if they follow that advice, they'll be successful 100% of the time. But that's the thing is like, that's the most general piece of advice is the best piece of advice.
That's
And
real.
the thing is like when a baby walks, like it's gonna fall down, it's gonna get back up, and it's gonna fall down and get back up. And it's the same exact concept. Like if you're in a maze, and I give this analogy, if you're in a maze and the maze doesn't change and you get put inside and you have to escape, the first time it's going to take you a long time. The second time it's going to be faster and faster and faster because you're learning the maze and you're making this. Every time you make the wrong turn, you're going to learn not to do that. And it's the same thing with business. It's the same thing with fitness. It's the same thing with anything that's hard in life. So truly, the most general, broad is the best advice that any of us could give, which is literally just don't quit. Because every time you fail, you're getting that much closer.
That's real. And how do you get your hair to look that good every time you get on camera? Like, what is the...
Bro, I don't do anything. I don't do anything.
I was
with my
about to
hair.
say, bro, the crazy thing is he actually wakes up like that. Like when we were in London, every single morning, impeccable.
Bro has
like
life
impeccable.
on... Bro has life on easy mode. It's insane.
Like,
All
like
right.
a Head and Shoulders commercial.
No, that's real though, Sebastian. We appreciate you because that's some real game, bro. For real. Let's throw it to Zayn. Oh, and he's drinking the sparkling water too. Stop playing. All right, let's throw it to Zayn.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I think everyone just said the best piece of advice right there is not quit. And I think everyone can agree with that. I think Iman actually said this, but it's like if you throw it enough times at the wall, like eventually it's going to stick. And I think business is really like that. Persistence is so important. And my entire life, like I'm not a really artistic person. I wouldn't say I'm like a really creative person. I've never been good at that. But what I've been good at is literally like taking a hammer and banging it against the wall and eventually breaking through. And when you want to do entrepreneurship, when you're trying to do business, when you're trying to succeed in anything you do in life, there's always going to be a lot of stuff that comes up. There's always going to be trials and tribulations. There's going to be people that stop you and you have to keep going. So I'd say my biggest piece of advice after like not quitting is not letting people affect you as you're trying to become successful and go on your journey. I remember when I was first starting, I was really young and a lot of people would tell me, Zayn, I think you should do this, or you should do this, or you should do this, or you should stop doing this, or you should stop saying this. So a lot of people criticizing you. And when they criticize you, it causes you to take different actions that might not necessarily be the right actions. So everyone has an opinion when you're trying to be successful and make it happen and do something. You got to do your best to channel out all of that noise, all of that BS, and just keep doing you. Because the more successful that you get, the more noise is going to come. The more people are going to try to give you advice and tell you what to do or tell you what not to do. But oftentimes, the only reason they're telling you that is because they're too scared to do it themselves. So never quit, and then that second part.
Is there any filters you recommend to instill to kind of filter out that bullshit? Like, is there any like
Dude,
filters that
I would
like
just
have you done it before? Like filters like
Yeah.
if you have no money, don't talk to me about money. It's like stuff like that. Do you have any of those?
I wouldn't say it's really a filter, but like what's really interesting is I notice the more successful people I'm around, they're not like pushing advice on me. I'm actually way more curious and I'm getting advice out of them. I often notice the people that try to give me advice like over and over and over again are usually the people that don't have it figured out. Like if they're just like trying to give me advice openly and they're going and they're telling me what to do and they're telling me what I'm doing wrong, I'm always like a little sketched out because a lot of the people that I listen to that actually, I think have a lot of influence, I'm asking them information left and right and I'm trying to get it out of them. But I just say like the biggest thing is like, especially when you're building a company, and for me at least, it's this. I have a lot of managers and employees and these people that as you're growing and scaling, they're going to tell you a lot of different things. And a lot of it will be right. And there's stuff that you have to listen to. You just got to like understand it. But sometimes there's going to be decisions on your team that are made out of fear. And that's what I really try to find. Is this person saying this thing because they actually believe it and they think it and it's true? Or is there fear that's like coming onto them and they're like, oh my God, a customer said this and they freaked out. So now we should switch our entire business model and do this and that. So oftentimes for me, it's just been channeling out all of the noise, thinking very clearly and just trying to make a logical decision. So it doesn't mean being ignorant and just like closing my ears and not listening to anyone. It just means not letting it become emotional. Like taking it for what it is, it's data and information as you listen to it, and then making the most logical decision with that data and that information.
Bro, what you said about the real successful people not throwing advice out all the time is so true. Like when I'm hanging out with you or I'm hanging out with Kenzo or Jad, I'm learning from y'all, from the stories that you're telling me about your experience in your life. It's not because Zayn is coming in saying, oh, Jordan, I think you should do this, or I think you should do this. Like, it's just pieces that I gather from listening to you tell me about your own life. Same with E-Man. We hung out for 2 days in London, and it wasn't like he was dropping advice on me all the time, but I learned so much just from seeing how he moves, how he takes care of his family and friends, and like that's how you really learn as well. And like being able to extract advice from that is how I feel like you can really get knowledge off of people. You can't be out here DMing and asking questions. Like, learn from people's stories. But yeah, that was a real game right there for sure. Let's get E-Man's final words for the people.
Yeah, look, I feel as though there's just been so much good high-level information, so I'll just give everyone in here something practical. Go on your computer right now, get something called Unhook. It basically removes the homepage, and then it even has a setting, so every time you go to YouTube, it automatically goes to your subscription. So go to your subscription box and basically allow yourself to subscribe to 10, 15, maximum 20 people.
Subscribe to E-Man, Sebastian, Jordan.
Bro, honestly,
no, I'm just playing.
Yeah, if you want, dude, to be honest, like if you're at a stage where you've consumed my content and you're like, all right, cool, like I kind of get it, whatever, he said it enough times, I kind of get his just unsubscribe, I really don't give a fuck, right? The point is, like, you guys are all on TikTok trying to listen to 15 different people, 30 different opinions, and you're on YouTube and you're trying to listen to every single podcast thinking that someone's going to drop one little gem and that's going to be the secret thing that's going to unlock your entire business, and that's not the case at all. Like, you guys are just procrastinating, and the issue with the self-help industry, or even quite frankly the content that we produce, it makes you think that you're being productive, and it makes you think like, oh no, but like I'm watching a productive YouTube video. No, you're literally doing nothing. All you're doing is procrastinating. You might as well be watching I don't know, what do people watch these days? Like if they have a grandpa, like, I don't know, Mr. Beast, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't like
Eric, Mr. Beast,
Eric. You might as well be watching one of those videos. There's literally zero difference, because at the end of the day, you're just on this hamster wheel of procrastination. So, as I said, I just want everyone on here, go on Google Chrome, get Unhook. It'll automatically redirect to your subscription box, so that way you're very, very conscious about what you're actually watching. And as I said, go skim through all of your subscriptions, bring it down to 10, 15, 20 maximum, and just understand. As long as you just mentally reframe, because here's the thing, I watch YouTube videos. I mean, I'm subscribed to most of you guys on here, right? Like, when you're maybe it's the end of the day, you're super tired, or maybe you're having a quick meal. We all know what it's like. You're having your chicken rice, whatever it may be.
I'm trying to go see why E-Man bid $300,000 on Logan Paul's NFT. That's what I'm trying to do.
Right? You got 10, 15 minutes to kill. Of course, YouTube's a great entertainment source, but even the educational stuff, like, you still need to look at it as entertainment.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well said, man. I think that's some good game. Unhook is the extension he was talking about. Another one I use is called Newsfeed Eradicator. It kills the Facebook and Instagram feed entirely. So you can still use those platforms for messaging, outreach, whatever it is, but you're not sitting there scrolling. Let's go to Kenzo now.
Well, I mean, I want to elaborate on so many things, but I'll keep it short and sweet. I agree with virtually 99% of what everyone said. For me, the biggest thing is you have to be very practical about your situation, right? I wouldn't recommend anyone to go and start my business and go and, do what I do, because, like, yes, it's very profitable for me and it works for me. But the only reason I was able to grow and scale this so fast is because I started this as like a 16, 17-year-old kid living with this like mother. I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to, pay a car note and do this. And it, me not having any of those liabilities really allowed me to go 100% in on something without really fear of repercussions. What's worst case scenario? I lose some money. Like, it's not like I'm gonna, be sleeping on the streets the next day. So for me, it's just be very practical about your situation, as well as, I'd say reverse engineer the goal. Figure out what you really want. What is your why? Why are you working? What's the goal? Whether it's to buy your mom that $1 million house. Okay, you want to buy it in 12 months. You need to make $83,000 a month. How are you going to make $83,000 a month? And just break it down to small achievable steps, so you yourself feel and see the progress of you chipping away at that big picture goal. And obviously your why is going to change along the way, as mine did. But hey, my goal was I wanted a Jaguar F-Type by 18. Okay, I needed to make XXX by this. And it made it really easy for me to see the progress. And when you see progress, you're more motivated to continue and stick with something. You have the people that go to the gym for 30 days and then you're like, you know what? I don't have a six pack. Like, screw this. I'm not going to do it. If it was easy, it wouldn't have value. Everyone would have it. Everyone would do it. So for me, figure out what you really want, reverse engineer how you're going to go ahead and get to it. Especially if you're starting out with lack of skills or money, really get into service-based business and just take it step by step.
Most definitely. Look, 2 more, and then that's it for the day. We got Jad, and then we're going to finish off with the asset bender himself, and that's going to be the stream. Before we do that, though, make sure y'all drop a like. Drop a like on this. Jad, let's hear what you got to say.
All right, I'm going to keep it quick. For me, it's really to start now and start as soon as you can. A lot of times, very young guys come to me around 15 years old, and they're asking about business, and they're trying to start their first business, and they're trying to provide. And back when I was 15 years old, I didn't really have that mentality. And I grew up in a household, where my dad was somewhat of a risk-averse person when it came to business. And he made me believe that life happens to people, right? And that's not the case. You make life happen, right? When I used to ask him, because I was a very curious person, and I grew up around my uncles who were kind of idols to me, and they were very successful. And I always wondered how they made that happen. And my dad's response was, they were lucky. There is luck, when it comes to life in general, just like Iman was saying, it's 50% of what he did was somewhat being the right place, the right time. But I really do believe that if you start early enough, like for me, if I had started early enough, I would be light years ahead where I'm at right now. And that's one thing that I'm very impressed, and I really motivate people and encourage young guys and girls that are going into the entrepreneurial world to really, start immediately and don't wait for that chance or that person or that thing that's going to come and magically, make you into a successful person or that successful business. So that's one piece of advice. Start now, even if you're not sure what it is that you want to do. Find your skill set, build that skill set, and pivot. And you will always pivot, and eventually you will strike gold. So
for sure. Yeah, that's real stuff, Jad. All right, Luke, take us home, man. Also, tell the people to drop a like. They need to hear it from you. You got a strong
All right, so how many likes do we currently have?
Not enough. Tell them to do it. And then
How many exactly?
One second. One thing I'd like to add that I forgot to mention earlier. Jordan, thank you so much for putting this together, man. I wanted to thank you. Man, just a quick... I've known the longest probably out of all of you guys, and man, I remember Jordan, and I remember when he was telling me he's starting this YouTube channel. I was walking to Chipotle. I was on my 9 to 5 as a project engineer, walking in downtown LA to Chipotle, and he was struggling with the YouTube channel, and he was telling me, bro, like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. It's kind of difficult, and it wasn't too long ago, and now look where you're at, man. This is incredible. It's truly an honor to me, to be surrounded by such, big guys like you and, all the goats in the industry.
You lagged for a sec, but
it's you, bro.
I love you, man. I appreciate you very much, man. Couldn't have done it without you, bro. You're a real brother to me.
Jordan, how deep you want me to go, broski?
Actually,
we got 90 seconds. How deep you want me to go, brother?
Let's do a 60-second. Let's do a 60-second Luke bomb drop, and then that's going to be the end of the stream for today, all right? I want some game for everybody. Let's hear it.
I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice. The first one is, as you become successful, never forget God. You will be tempted to forget your first love, the one that put you where you are. Never forget. Whether you believe in God or not, do your research, do your study. It's very fucking real. And then the second thing is study Newton's third law. Newton's third law states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And it's the principle of sowing and reaping. That for everything that you input into the world, you will output an equal proportion to that which you input. This is a fundamental law of the universe, right? If you go to the gym X amount of times, you will obtain X result in accordance to the effort that you put in. The reason I find this to be an extremely empowering law, Newton's third law, is the fact that you're in control. The life that you have is the life that you chose. The decisions that you made have put you where you are today. A lot of you guys are happy with the life that you have. A lot of you guys are not. And that is in direct proportion to the actions and the decisions that you've made. If you want a different life, make different choices. If you want the same life, continue doing what you're doing. But Newton states very clearly that for every action that you input, for everything that you put into the world, you will receive an equal proportion energy, the opposite of what you've input. This is a fundamental law of the universe. It works with planets, it works with stars, it works even to the most basic common denominator, neutrons, electrons, protons in the nucleus. And if you can understand this principle, you will be empowered for the rest of your life, because now you're going to do one thing and then describe it in one word, which is intentionality. You wake up not like an accident, you wake up with intention. And I think a lot of the gentlemen in the chat right here, they have something in common. They wake up with purpose. And I think a lot of individuals, you know, they feel lost. And the reason they feel lost is because they don't know where to go. They don't have a goal, they don't have a purpose, and they don't know how to obtain it. So figure out where you want to go, what you want to do, and understand that you have to sacrifice in direct proportion to the reward you want to receive. So if Kenzo wants to be a trillionaire, he's going to have to sacrifice in direct proportion. I'm just making an analogy, in direct proportion, right, to your desire of what you want to achieve. So put God first, keep God first, because he's given you everything that you have, even the breath that you have. And it's so fucking amazing. And then the second thing is truly understand that you are in control of your life. The decisions that you make, the people you hang out with, what you listen to, what you eat, what you consume, and that you will receive in direct proportion in life what you put into it. So may that be of power to you and inspiration as you move forward.
Man, listen, Luke, Belmar, everybody else, my brothers in this today, man, this was amazing. Like, this is probably my favorite thing that's ever been on my YouTube channel. Like, to have this much wisdom packed into under 2 hours, to get y'all to come on here and do this, man, I'm extremely blessed, extremely grateful to call y'all my friends and my brothers. And Luke, that was amazing, bro, as well. Like, that was very well said. I couldn't have said
that boy got away with
myself.
words.
For real.
Gordon.
Hey, when are we hanging out? When should we all just meet up and do some dope shit, bro? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
ASAP. ASAP. What? ASAP.
Bro, let's do this again, Jordan, without the introductions and like 60-minute responses on everything, and let's just go through a bunch of topics.
Well, let's see.
I
genuinely what the chat says about that. W,
really
if y'all
enjoyed
want to
it.
see that. W, if y'all want to see that in the chat, we might have to do that. I think that's a great idea, Sebastian. I think we should definitely do that. I know you got some awesome people in your circle. I know E-Man might know some amazing people we never heard of, and maybe we can make this a recurring thing, because more than just providing the value for the audience, I learned so much today. And,
yeah, literally.
You know, like, this was very valuable for me as a viewer. So, again, we're going to end it here. Thank you guys so much to y'all boys in the group right here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. All their social medias is going to be down below, so you can click, follow them, keep up with what they're doing. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you, boys. Hey, I got to follow you guys on
pleasure.
IG as well, so be on the lookout.
Yep, same.
I already
boys.
followed you.
Appreciate you.
See you
Have a
later.
wonderful. Hey, Jordan, appreciate you, broski.
No problem. I'm going to dip out of the voice chat and say bye to my stream, but yeah, thank you guys.
Lots of love, guys. Bye-bye.
Later. Thank you.